From North Korea to Syria to the incident last week at the Andrews Market in North Charleston, Rocky D sits down with me one-on-one for this edition of Quintin's Close-Ups. Rocky D.
Yeah, here I am.
Yes, sir.
The loudest thing ever in this library. I'm like the howler monkey. I'm not allowed in libraries, you know. But in fact, I'm waiting to see if some of the students will come in here and say shh. But then again, my answer to them will be, "You're from College of Charleston. What are you doing in the library? Shouldn't y'all be smoking dope and drinking and partying and stuff, and protesting something that nobody cares about?"
Well, speaking of protests, let me talk to you about a couple of issues.
Okay.
Describe to me the following in one word. Judge Neil Gorsuch in one word.
I think he's a constitutionalist.
Okay.
And that's why the liberals don't like him. They're afraid he's going to. I mean, I've actually had liberals tell me that they're afraid that Gorsuch is going to, erase Roe v. Wade. Well, that's not what he's there for. You know, I mean, he's there just he takes Judge Alito's place pretty well. He's going to be. In fact, as we're doing this,
right.
He's going to be confirmed.
Right. Sworn in.
I mean, he's going to be sworn in. I mean, yeah. The liberals are going crazy. I mean, right now, Hillary Clinton is back home in Chappaqua. She's throwing champagne glasses at the cat and yelling at her Secret Service people because she's mad.
Let me turn to Syria. What's your definition of Syria right now?
Right now, what people are saying is that the president should have gotten congressional approval for the airstrike, which could have taken how long? But what the president, as far as I know from the Constitution, the president needs congressional congressional support to wage war. On just a military action, I'm not sure that he needs anybody's approval. I mean, let's face it. I mean, he and his staff saw those dead babies in Syria.
Right.
I mean, who drops, and we don't even know if it was sarin gas, but who drops poison gas on their own people? I mean, who is it? Who is it that does such a thing? Yeah, I'm trying to not sneeze here.
Oh, no worries. I understand. North Korea.
North Korea, that little guy's going to get his hat handed to him. I mean, I'm surprised at this point that China hasn't gone over and said, "Listen, little guy, okay, with your funny hairdo, stop doing what you're doing. You're a redheaded stepchild. And we can cut off funding and we can mow you over in 6 hours. You'd be done." Just think if the ground forces of China decided to mobilize, they could come at you 4 at a time and you could shoot them all down, and that line would continue forever. Wow. I mean, 1 out of every 4 people on the planet lives in China. Don't mess with China. Economically, you can argue with them, but as far as brute force,
right.
Bad idea. It's a bad idea.
Well, let me tell you back here to home. This was the headline on the Post and Courier's Twitter feed yesterday. It says this quote: "You have wakened a sleeping giant. Confederate group displays flags above I-26 near Somerville." When you hear that, what plays in your mind?
First of all, that group is not affiliated with the Sons of Confederate Veterans or the Confederate Heritage Trust, which is where everybody goes for info. Okay. In fact, those, or the National Park Service or anything, right. Those people call me for information on history because I'm such a history buff. Right. When we were doing a radio show at 1250, right. They would call me and we'd go back and forth almost every day because I want to make sure I get it right. Right. But the Secessionist Party, and I know these guys, and they're not bad guys, but they're a little extreme, and none of this would be happening if they didn't yank down the flag in the flagpole in Columbia. That half the people, most of the people that were there surrounding don't take it down, they never even saw it before. Okay? How that fixed anything is beyond me. I was calling Nikki Haley's office for weeks saying, "Don't do this. Okay. Don't do this. Don't kick the beehive, man. Don't stand on top of a red anthill. Just don't do it. Just leave them alone. Take the flag down, put another one up. Put the flag down, let all these morons go home, back to North Carolina and Ohio and places they came from, and then just put another flag up there." My idea, did I tell you this before? I think we did it on the last time. Right. Yeah, my idea was to change the flags every, 3 weeks or something. Put a different flag up there with an explanation at the bottom of the pole, a big, 4 foot wide by 3 foot high, right. Whatever, or the other way around. Explanation of what that flag was, because people don't know this if they're not into the history. There are plenty of different Civil War flags, war between the states flags around, and you can always find a new one to put up there. I mean, the first, second, and third national flags, you could put up a Charleston Brigade flag, a Columbia flag, something like that. And as a matter of fact, the flag you see, the palmetto flag,
Right.
yeah, that's actually a Confederate flag. It was used by the Confederate Army. They would come out with the palmetto flag.
Okay.
So what all the screaming was about, I don't know. That guy who killed 9 of our neighbors, right down the street,
Right.
okay, right down the street at Emmanuel AME.
Right.
That guy had nothing to do with any Confederate outfits. They wouldn't have a guy like that, you know? So, you know, I don't know why they did that. That was just dumb. So Nikki Haley pulled it down because she wanted higher-ups in Washington, D.C. to consider her for a job, and it worked for her. However, for us, it's been a pain in the ass because now you got all these goobers, these yahoos coming out with, PVC pipes stuck in the back of their pickup trucks and big old flags flying around there, which doesn't do anybody any good. First of all, it obstructs your view, okay, when you're trying to look past them. Second of all, that's not what the Confederate flag display is supposed to be. It's supposed to be historical. Not on a Toyota Tundra going down the street,
You talk about Nikki Haley during this particular interview. When you look at her as the UN ambassador for the United States, what's next up to you?
She played it so she could get a gig there. In the beginning, I don't know if you remember, she said she could never vote for Trump. But then as soon as Trump became popular, all of a sudden she's on Trump's side. I know, I've talked to her a lot of times, and I like some of the things she's done, but ever since the Confederate flag thing, and she probably got at least heard 2 of my messages. I gave her a dozen messages saying, don't do this. It's going to work in the opposite. Okay, and I saw Don Staley, go Cox. Saw Don Staley at a thing, at a rally.
National Championship Parade.
Right, yeah. She gets up there and says, and thanks to Nikki Haley, Governor Haley, for taking down the Confederate flag. What did that have to do with anything? Nobody ever said they couldn't come as far as I know. I don't know what that's all about. Yeah, it hurt my shoulder.
Tell me, as we sit here right now, how are you?
I've had my 4th shoulder operation. I had an argument with a stairway and I lost. And I hurt my left arm and we're in recovery.
Wow.
In fact, Quintin here had to help me put on my jacket.
Right.
Because I haven't worn one since. And I showed you my scar line. Pretty rough, isn't it?
Yeah, right here.
Oh, yeah. Well, the head was just because I had a pin in my hat.
Wow.
So, but remember when your mama told you to not run up and down the stairs? This is why.
Let me turn you back here to Charleston once again, because obviously this headline was posted on ABC News 4's website on Monday, April 3rd, 2017. Demonstration held at Andrews Market after video sword gun altercation shared.
Well, first of all, the guy that was shoplifting,
Allegedly.
he got his butt kicked. And on top of that, he's lucky he didn't get shot. I mean, let's face it. I don't know what the law would be on that one, but he was in there shoplifting. And why the nonsensical agitator nitwits, the NAN, why they would do what they're doing right now is beyond comprehension. If you're going to stick up for somebody that's in some kind of a controversy. Don't stick up for a thief. Really? If you got some black fellow who's walking down the street, and then a bunch of other people attack him, whether they're Middle Easterners or not, you got something to talk about. But this guy was a thief, and why the NAN is picking him, I don't know. And you saw what happened to James Johnston.
As a matter of fact, when I interviewed him for Quintin,
I saw that. What a BSer. Go ahead.
Oh, well, what I was going to say is that he basically said he doesn't want to work with Nelson Rivers anymore. He felt like Nan threw him under the bus. No, he crawled under the bus on his own. You don't get out there and say all these stores opened by Arabs, they don't do nothing for us, and Arabs. Well, first of all, a lot of these little convenience stores are owned by, Middle Easterners, and then a lot of them are owned by people from India. Indians aren't Arabs, okay? Not as far as I know. Second thing is that if you know anything about James Johnston, did you ever hear of him before Emmanuel AME? Did you ever hear of him? In the interview I did with him, he says that he's been doing civil rights work for the past 30 years. Well, he didn't specify. Okay. Civil rights work for who? For what?
I mean, this is a guy who, you know Wendell Gilliard, right? When he was he's a state representative now, but when he was a city councilman, he used to call me out to all his gigs, you know, cool breeze, give air conditioners to poor people. And every year they get stolen by the grandson, and every year we replace it, no kidding. And the Community Unity Project, which I don't know if is even going anymore. That's where you get a bunch of cops and they bring a police helicopter out there, and the kids in the neighborhood, especially the preteens, the middle school kids, they learn that cops aren't, you know, they're not grizzly bears. You know, they're not here to hurt you. They're here to make sure you ain't getting hurt. You know? So it was a big party every year, and I would see James Johnston at these events.
Okay.
And so finally I asked Wendell, I said, who is that guy? You know, I've seen him 3 times now in a year. Who is that guy? And he told me who he was and didn't say much more. And when the NAACP came over, he was wearing a sash. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
The purple and gold sash. And I said, hey. And he says he told me he was James Johnston. He goes, stay away from him, he's crazy. That's what they told me. But since the Emmanuel AME thing, what you got with James Johnston, in my opinion, okay, is a guy who stood in the shadows in the dark, like a cartoon undertaker, waiting for something really bad to happen so he could jump in front of a microphone. And when Emmanuel AME happened,
right.
You know, that Dylan Roof guy, you know, when he went in there and shot our neighbors, nobody was happy about it. That's when he jumped in front of the microphone and said, I'm the representative for NAN. I don't even know if he was at the time. I never heard of NAN before, did you? Oh yeah, I did. With, what's his name? He's in Washington, D.C., Al Sharpton.
Right.
I heard about from Al Sharpton, but I didn't think we had anything going here. It's I don't know why anybody pays any attention to him. And Nelson Rivers and the NAN people, they're right. This guy is just he's too abrasive. I mean, if you want to get something out of City Hall, you don't walk up there and tell Mayor somebody he's fat. Hey, fatso, here's what I want to do. You know, plus he'd probably deck you. You know, you don't do that. I mean, you come out to the store and you ask, why did this happen? There was no reason to happen. But the thing is, why did it happen? He was shoplifting. You know, and these Middle Easterners, they're not going to cotton to that. And then when Johnson said that they need to go back to their own country, they live here. And my question is, that old dilapidated building they fixed up so it could be a little store,
Right.
you know, so that people that don't have cars and live in a neighborhood there, which is a hood, it's like a ghetto around there, so they could come and buy stuff without having to drive 8 miles somewhere. My question was always, well, why didn't some of the black people in the neighborhood that are around there, why didn't they grab that building and start a store? The only reason that these Arabs, as Johnson said, were running that store is because nobody else wanted it. It takes effort. Those guys, did you ever see these people? Well, I had a place in Tampa where I lived. It was just 3 blocks from my house.
Okay.
It was a little convenience store. So I used to walk down there all the time, grab some milk, whatever. And it was right on 9th Street. Okay? And I would go down there, and there was an ice cream shop across the street. And I would go down there and get, no matter what time of day it was, well, they usually close at 10. But
Okay.
no matter what time of day it was, 3 in the afternoon, 4 in the afternoon, there would be like an 11-year-old kid who would open the door for you. And inside is his entire family that works there.
Wow.
You know, 12 hours a day,
Right.
7 days a week. And and they were Indian, I think East Indian. You know, Hindus, whatever you want to call them. But they were nice as everything. They were real nice. They used to know me, you know. Hi, Rocky.
Right.
Hey, man. You know, so I'd walk in there. But I always noticed it was the same 4 or 5 people working there. And they were all related. They had a sign, you know, help wanted in the window. And they said nobody came in to apply. So they hired another one of their relatives. So when it comes back down to James Johnston, the guy's a fraud. I don't know what he's trying to pull. You know, when you talk to members of other organizations that represent black communities or the ACLU or something, they're never not nice to you. You know, I mean, didn't you think he was a bit extreme? I do, by the statements he made. You sure aren't going to get anywhere doing that.
Well, let me move from North Charleston to really Charleston County, where we are right now.
Right.
526. You have Vince Graham out as the SITB chairman. You have an upstate guy as the chairman now. Sandy Sin is like, hey, we need to complete 526.
Yeah, she just got elected, by the way. She's new.
Right. When you think of 526, what plays in your mind with that?
The fact that I've been here almost 2 decades and nobody's done anything. They talk about it every month. We need to finish 526, and every month that they don't make a plan and execute it, it gets more and more expensive. Now, the people that live in James Island and even Johns Island,
right,
they don't want that big bridge going across them. I understand it. They don't want to look out. They want to look out and see Pluff Mud or whatever they look at. A guy I know lives right at the end of that, and you can see it from there.
Sure.
And I said, the bridge won't get in your way. You know, you won't even hear it from here. You know, I mean, it's like the people on Daniel Island that complain about the bridge noise. You know, Daniel Island, big causeway. I mean, that goes over there. They complain about the noise of trucks and cars going over. Well, you moved under a bridge. You moved under an 80-foot high trestle. Okay? What do you think? It's like people that move near the airport and complain about airplane noise. It's like people who move to Florida and complain about the heat. You know, oh my God, it's hot out here, Rocky. It's hot out here. We're all gonna melt. It's hot out here. You know, I'm like, listen, lady, this is not New York. Okay, this is Florida. It's hot here most of the time. You know, are you the same person that goes up to Chicago in February and goes, "Oh my God, it's cold out here"? Yeah. Okay. You know what I mean? Of course it's cold in February in Chicago. Of course it's hot in Florida in August. I mean, you know, that's just the topography. It's just the weather changes, man. I mean, you know, that's it. You know, I wonder if James Johnston will go down and complain about the heat. Maybe he can get that one going.
Rocky D, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Oh, but I'm not done yet.
I thought we covered everything.
Yeah. As far as the Andrews store,
Sure.
I heard recently that they did not re-up their lease on time, so I don't even know if they're open. Maybe I'll go by there and buy a bag of chips.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, this was interesting. Thank you as always.
Yeah.
Really
Beware of that
appreciate it.
Johnson guy. He's not real. I mean, he's a dangerous dude, man. He might be nice to you, but I'll like standing next to him and he'll just look the other way. I'm talking to you. Yeah.
Thank you for your time. I appreciate this.
Sure enough.
Thank you.
All right.